You are an idiot. Tell us you don't know what you're talking about by telling us you don't know what you're talking about. Just complete anger and evil. Put down the crack pipe, or I want to smoke what you're smoking. And what are these things? What do these things all have in common? And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you what they have in common and why this topic is actually incredibly important. My name is Scott LeRette, and I'm your host of the Green Pants Podcast. And after my last podcast episode, I had a number of people call me that enjoyed the way that I did it, which I know I quipped that I wung it. I was winging it. But I'm going to try that a little bit. And what I did, I just had a topic that it so gets in my craw that it really bugs me that I'm like, I want to talk about this with people. So what I do is I find some data regarding this topic, and it's something that affects everyone every day. I promise you. I think that it'll be the exception and the rule of someone that this doesn't touch. But what I tend to do is search out for data because I'm a big research geek, data geek, and that's what I did. And it really only took one search to find some of the information I was looking at. And I've got to read some of it when I talk to you about it, though, because it's simply something I'm not familiar with, and it's brand new, and I didn't know that there was a name for it. And what I'm referring to is the psychology of online disinhibition and digital aggression. A comprehensive research-backed reference on why people become more confident, cruel, or extreme behind a keyboard, and how anonymity, group dynamics, personal traits, and platform design interact to shape online behavior. And it's pretty crazy, right? I mean, I think we all do it. I'm trying to find something here to read to you about that. But, okay, I got it. I'll check that later. But yeah, it doesn't matter, though. It can be politics. It can be sports. I think sports, for me, because I've never really gotten into much of the politics online, as you know. But I have no problem with engaging regarding sports. And they can be the worst. In fact, you know, my two teams that I follow religiously are the Oklahoma Sooners football team and the Boston Bruins hockey team. And sometimes it can be your own peers, your own friendly fans of your own that are just bad, man. I tell you what, I'm like, some days I'm just like, you're actually a Sooner fan? Really? Stop it. But yeah, online see, it's so new to me, online disinhibition effect. It describes a tendency for individuals to express themselves more openly, aggressively, unusually online than they would in face-to-face interactions. And I've heard this before, and I've shared this too, which is if you think about what you want to say to someone, and maybe it doesn't have to necessarily be mean or rude, or maybe you're not sure what it is. But a good rule of thumb, I think, is would you be comfortable telling that person what you think or what you want to talk about in regard to them? Doing in person. Would you be as comfortable in person as you would be as typing it out on the keyboard? So I could kind of end the episode right there and just say, if you live by that, you're good. But we don't. We don't. And it's funny. Here's another one for you, though, if I'll backtrack here. Along with all those things that I started with, the one that I think gets a lot of play are the clown emoji, the clown emoji. If you're really being tricky, you're really being spiffy and quick is to call someone a clown, but you do it with the clown emoji. And the other is when you make a comment and someone simply gives you the like button, but they do the laugh. As if that's just, you know, that hits, man. That hits. And that's mean and that's cruel. And they just think it's funny what you said. You're trying to be serious and they laughed at you. Right? And it's an emoji. It's a little tiny cartoon someone clicked on instead of saying they liked your post. Can you believe we're having this discussion in 2025? It's pretty wild. Key factors to look at here. This is wild, man. Disassociative anonymity. Separating online actions from real world identity. Yeah, I mean, you can get away with it online because in the real world, you don't have that mask on. You've got the mask of anonymity because you're behind the keyboard. Nobody sees your face. Nobody knows where you are, what you're doing, what you're wearing, what you're eating, what you smell like, whatever. And you've got that disassociative anonymity, the separation of real world from online. Number 2, invisibility. I think that one goes without saying. You don't have tone. You don't have facial expressions. You don't have immediate social feedback. Now, this can apply too when you're doing DMs, text messages, even emails. And I think this happens to me on a daily basis, even with my wife. Teresa can say something and I'm a little slow on the uptake. She can be kidding. We do that in person though, because she makes fun of me and she does things that I take way too seriously because I maybe think she's serious when she's actually not. She's just making fun of me, which she's really good at. But how many times has that come up in a meeting on a teamwork text thread or something like that, where maybe you said something and you thought it was hilarious, but it just didn't land. It didn't come across. I see either myself or someone on my team probably once a day, at least once a week, or a couple times a week, where you'll see someone ask something or say something, and I can tell they wanted it to hit a certain way and it didn't. And when it happens to me, I'm just kind of like, that's life. Asynchronicity, number 3. Delayed responses reduce accountability and emotional regulation. See, and that's it. I think that you leave this post, you say something, maybe you were the one that says something bad or negative or disagreeable with someone else. You leave the computer, you walk away, you go out to dinner, something like that, and you leave that on your keyboard. It didn't go with you. You didn't really say it to that person, right? So that keyboard and that screen, I'm on a Mac, or it could be on my phone. That is that interface that gives you that air of, it gives you that invisibility. And I think that one word that I used earlier, disassociative, it is so apropos to today. We are so disassociated with one another. That's what all of this is leading to. Number 4, and this one I've got to slow down and read to you. Solipsistic introjection. Say that 7 times fast. Solipsistic introjection. Any guess? Anybody? Anyone. I would say put it in the comments below and you get free corn dogs for life or something like that. Just kidding. But solipsistic introjection. Now, let me take a time out here just because, why am I doing this episode though? Because I told you that everybody probably experiences this, and we're living in this world that is so wacky that we no longer got our news a week late or 10 days later, or we tuned in on AM radio to hear something that happened yesterday or a couple days ago or something like that. Today, we can watch it actually as it happens. And we're all part of it, though, too. Whereas in the past, where maybe when the internet was brand new, we could see these things and we're like, wow. But now we have phones that are more powerful than the computers we had 5 years ago. That's crazy. So you can do all this on the keyboard. You've heard the description of the keyboard warrior in the basement in their underwear eating Pop-Tarts. Well, you can do it just as easily on your phone, sitting waiting for your wife at a TJ Maxx while she does something. Anywhere. You could be at a football game or at a concert, and you can just go to town and be as nice or as mean as you want to be. So it's just so easy, the access the exposure, it enables us to just do that. Just at a couple of mouse clicks, a couple of keyboard clicks. But solipsistic interjection. Imagining the other person as a character in one's mind. How many times do you, I'll just stick with sports because, you know, like right now, my team's done playing this year. Kind of bummed. If we'd have had any type of an offense, I'd have put money down to be national champions. But anyway, we made the playoffs. Didn't go like I wanted to, but after the season, since they're done, I've disassociated myself with all these Oklahoma Sooners fan pages, except for one, which is one group of peers that I really enjoy. Otherwise, I'm out. Like all the SEC pages, I'm out. Because that's what happens. Imagine the other person that you're maybe want to make fun of. Because I don't have any problem. I admit it. I don't have quite the problem when you're talking about a football game or I don't talk basketball, but you're talking about grown men playing a sport with a ball and you're arguing against other fans. So if someone makes fun of me, it doesn't hurt my feelings. They can cross lines, of course, but same goes the other way. It's the one time where I'll be like, come on, dude, don't be a doofus. But you tend to see that person not as a human. You just read what they said, and then what do you do sometimes? Do you go to the profile? Do you go to their profile? Do you look at their pictures? And here's an example, though, because way back in one of my episodes, I talked about just the heinous nature of some of the online hate that I have received since my book and my movie. And these people, I think they realize that they're actually talking to me, a real person. And in fact, it's wild to read some of the content. It's almost like I'm a third person. And I'm reading them saying this about someone. That someone's me. And it's just so bizarre. I totally lost my train of thought there. But we're still on solipsistic interjection, imagining the other person as a character in one's mind. So yeah, you just see that other person as not being human. And it's just an entity. And you want to be right. And you want to put them down. And your skills on that keyboard. And that's what it is, what we're talking about. Even for the person who has caps lock on, and they're yelling at you. Yeah, that's what that means. They're yelling when they do the all caps lock. I have to laugh at that one. Number 5, disassociative imagination. Treating online spaces as a game or fictional zone. That one, I think, is very similar to the last one. But I think, some people, I think they take it in a different direction, though. And you could have some people online that is their life. That is their life. And they just kind of turn that into where it's their reality, because maybe that's all they have. I don't have much more on that one. Minimization of authority. Reduced perception of rules, hierarchy, and consequences. That goes without saying. When you're sitting in a Speedo and you're on your couch in your basement doing this, you can't get in trouble unless you're in England. And then hate speech is disagreeing with someone, and they can come arrest you for being online and saying that you don't agree with government or something like that. Wacky. But that's the first topic. Number 2 would be benign versus toxic disinhibition. A lot of wild words in this one. Disinhibition is not inherently negative. Some people disclose emotions, trauma, or vulnerability more freely online. Yes. However, when combined with anger, status threat, or group reinforcement, it can turn toxic. Group reinforcement, absolutely, because even if you're in the middle of a thread on a specific topic, doesn't have to be anything majorly controversial. It could be about cooking or recipes. And someone disagrees with a certain technique. Well, when you have 5 other comments on that same thread that agree with the comment that you want to make in that thread, it totally supports your constitution. It totally makes you feel good about going ahead and hit enter on your comment. Benign disinhibition causes emotional openness, increased honesty, and social support seeking. Because you have people that go on there that are maybe looking for help, that are looking for validation, that are honestly looking just for feedback. And then you've got toxic disinhibition in the same regard, which is harassment and threats, dehumanization, hate speech, and extreme language. Number 3 is anonymity, de-individuation, and group identity as a side model. It's called a side model. But, man, all these new words. What's up with that? De-individuation. That's a third word today I never knew was a word. The social identity model of de-individuation affects SIDE, S-I-D-E. It explains how anonymity shifts. Listen to this. It explains how anonymity shifts people from personal identity to group identity. Kind of like that last comment I made about when you've got all kinds of other people chiming in the same way you would, and then you decide to because you feel comfortable in your stance because you've got, it's not dissonance, but you've got, validation of what you're trying to do. In online spaces, behavior often aligns more strongly with perceived group norms, good or bad. That's wild. I'm going to skip 4, which was anonymity and digital aggression, modern evidence. Well, let me read it, though. Recent large-scale reviews show a consistent relationship between perceived anonymity and the online aggression, though effects depend on platform design, moderation. Okay, I know I didn't give you that one. That's just, okay. But number 5, emotional reactivity, self-control, and flaming. Flaming behavior is often emotionally reactive rather than calculated. The lack of immediate social feedback reduces self-regulation, allowing anger, shame, or perceived disrespect to escalate rapidly. They don't have that feedback loop. And I can't tell you how many times, I'm not an angry person, never have been, but I can't tell you how many times what I've done is I've left a comment for something. Over the years, it's been regarding politics because I've never done that until just recently. I've stayed away. But where I type something out and then I deleted every digit, every word. But I think what you can do, though, the opposite of that is typing something out that maybe crosses the line. But there's no feedback, though. You get people that make you angry because they respond and try to tear that apart. But, who is good at self-regulating? The average person, I think, wants to lash back out and further drive and make their point. I've always told Austin and anyone that will listen, it's a lose-lose on the internet. I love the internet. I have a love-hate relationship with the internet. But I shared something earlier as a fact. This would be another fact, which is it doesn't matter. It's 50-50. You tell someone the sky is blue, they're going to be 50% of the people on there that disagree with you. Doesn't matter. Number 6, moral disengagement. Moral disengagement allows individuals to commit harmful acts without feeling personal guilt. Online environments make it easier to justify cruelty by minimizing harm, blaming victims, or diffusing responsibility. Again, this, I think, connects to a lot of the other ones with it, which is you can be as heinous as you want to be because you've got your support system that thinks the same. I think back to one of there's a specific YouTube page that hates me. And they hate the Unbreakable Boy, and they hate my story. And I doubt they feel one itty bitty tiny bit of guilt, but because it's online and it's an environment that enables them to be cruel and face no consequence or repercussion. And I don't care, I've never responded to any of that stuff, but it's allowed. It allows those people, and I'm all for freedom of speech, but it allows those people to do those types of things. Which some of it has just been heinous and evil towards me. Even some of it crossing the line. really crossing the line. Not everyone engages in toxic online behavior. Research shows higher correlations with certain personality traits, particularly within the dark tetrad. The dark tetrad. Now, this is something that sounds to me like DC or Marvel. The dark tetrad. But, the dark tetrad. Narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and everyday sadism. Okay, that's all we need to say there. We know that some people that have got certain parts of that dark tetrad in their makeup, it's not a good thing. And I'd say run. Don't respond. Don't let anyone like that in. Number 8 is dehumanization and empathy loss. Oh, Lord. Text-based communication removes facial expressions, vocal tone, and pain cues. This is what we were chatting about a little bit earlier. This reduction in emotional signal processing makes dehumanization easier and empathy less automatic. Oh my gosh, totally. That just nailed it. Number 9, group polarization. There's only a couple more. Group polarization and echo chambers. You see there's a crossover here? Because just like I'd mentioned that YouTube channel, and it's an autism group, and they definitely have their bubble, and they self-perpetuate the hatred. See, because not to get off topic, but within the autism world, there's definitely a subset of very militant individuals that believe that if you don't present autism, talk about autism, believe autism in a certain specific way, such as the way they do, you're bad. You're a bad person. But group polarization and echo chambers. When people interact primarily with like-minded others, opinions drift toward extremes. Now, I should be fair, though, and kind of back up, though, because I think this happens to just average people like you and me. I think, let's talk politics. I can find all the stories, all the articles, all the support, all the research that I feel comfortable with that support my position, not thinking that the person sitting across from me could do the same thing. Yet I look at them like they're an alien. Totally get that. But nobody wants to acknowledge that. When people interact primarily with like-minded others, opinions drift toward extremes. Online anonymity and algorithmic sorting accelerate this effect. And what that means there is that algorithmic sorting, it's the algorithm. It's how when you talk about something, or I post something like this video, and people click on it, and certain people start clicking on it, it's going to be shown to more people that are that similar makeup. Just like on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever. Go ahead. Well, I'll use YouTube. Go into YouTube and plug in whatever. Gardening with mushrooms and how to fertilize them. Well, if you do that and search for a video and you get it back, you watch the video, go back to YouTube 10 or 20 minutes later and just go to the homepage. What's going to happen? Well, you were clumped into a certain group of people that were searching for certain types of things. And I guarantee you're going to have recommendations for videos up there that are regarding mushrooms and gardening. And that's how people get grouped and linked socially. And these echo chambers, though, I think they can be great to have sounding boards and things like that. But I think echo chambers in general, it makes you not want to see other people's way of thinking, and it's dangerous. I believe that it really is. Because here, I'll give you one example that people can just go off on. And I'm not saying that I like the guy, but you look at our president. I'll just say this one thing about him. There was talk of impeachment of our president since before he was ever inaugurated. And when was that? 12 years? 10 years ago. Anyway, from day one, it was all about impeaching him, arresting him, 98% of the media, all media, not just the news, negative coverage for over a decade. So when you got like-minded folks that have a powerful position, you can destroy someone. So this dude has been hive-minded, assaulted for a decade, been physically assaulted with assassinations and attempted assassinations, and so much what has led to this is group polarization and echo chambers. Because I'll do that. I'll go over to, for example, X, and I'll look at posts that maybe it showed up on my feed for some reason. I'll check someone out, and it's just comment after comment after comment saying things about someone that are, the average person knows that they're not correct. They're wrong. But you've got this page. I'm a conservative, so maybe if you look at what's that, liberals of TikTok or something like that? I don't know. But if you look at one of their posts, it's just going to be at one. And the big thing, though, and I've never done this, but go on to one of those pages and dare to share your conservative or libertarian view. You will be eviscerated within 2.5 seconds. That's kind of funny. Last one, though, is bystander effect and silence online. Many users witness online abuse without intervening due to diffusion of responsibility, fear of retaliation, or normalization of hostility within the community. I think that one just goes without saying. I don't need to really explore that, go any deeper on that one, but it's absolutely, that exists, If you read something, you maybe like it, but you don't respond because you like it, but you don't respond because maybe you don't want to get one of those negative, nasty comments. I know what I was going to say earlier that I lost my train of thought about. And that was how you get so mad at someone that you're like, how in the world can that person think that? Yeah, I lost my train of thought about 10 minutes ago. So I may as well finish that thought that I had 10 minutes ago. And I was talking about folks that, you disagree with online, whether it's in the sports community or whatever. But this just happened the other day. I was on an SEC football page, and someone made some comment, and then I saw someone respond to them saying, well, yeah, we're talking about a guy that's got 158 pictures of himself in the same virtual pose. But what that is, have you ever done this? Maybe maybe they intrigued you. Maybe it was a positive post. You could do it the same way. Just like what we said earlier, where there can be these types of inhibitions that are positive and negative, well-meaning or not well-meaning. But do you ever go to their profile page and look at their pictures to see what they look like? Well, I did that to these posts especially when the movie came out. For the people that said F me and F my family and F the movie, that was on Goodreads. Crazy. I went and looked at the pictures. I wanted to see who it was that was doing this. Never would reach out to anybody like that. Or the one on Instagram where the gentleman called me a bald, alcoholic, albino piece of feces. I found their post. I found their profile, actually. And it's amazing what you can do when you do that, because what I did was I found specific traits of these groups in my specific lane, for example, the movie, that were very common. And that enabled me to just kind of step back and say, that's pathetic, But anyway, I'm bringing this up because the online environment, we're all so much a part of it as our daily lives. And I don't know what we take for granted, but, I'll close with this. There was someone that I know very well, and they posted something, and it was political. And they went on a tirade. They were just unhinged. As if, everything that they said, and they went bullet point by bullet point about what was wrong about X, Y, and Z. And I disagreed with 99% of it. But for me, I actually didn't even type something out and delete it. No, I'm not getting into that. She's wrong. He's wrong. They're wrong. But I just think maybe it's the better part of valor would be to think before you type. Think before you type. It's because I do it now with my text messages with my wife. But let me pull this up. I thought this had something to do with it. Well, it doesn't. But it's Matthew 7, 13, 14. Actually, 12. Do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and prophets. Matthew 7, 12. New Living Translation. Let me read that again. Do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and the prophets. That does apply to everything today. Now, thank you for tuning in. I've got some enormous things that I've done, that I'm doing. I wrote a screenplay, which I've always felt that the story of my story is a better story than my story. And I've done that. I'm very, very excited to have been able to do that. It's pretty cool. And I've got some really cool people that have it. But what's even more, I guess, exciting is I've got another project I'm working on that I think that this will be much broader, encompassing, much bigger than Unbreakable. It's a story that I am so passionate about. And I'll just share this. It's fiction. But the expectations that I have for it are bigger than anything I've ever had. I'm so jazzed about it. And I'm going to continue this because I have so much fun doing this. This is the second episode where I've totally wung it. I've totally wung it. I'm going to keep wunging it. But let me know what you think of the format. This is the longest episode I think that I've done. But like I said, it's fun. And please share it. Please share it with folks. Subscribe. And I'd love to get to 100 subscribers. I've got 37 right now. So if you listen to this, just hit that subscribe button and share it and talk about it. God bless you all and have a wonderful day. Peace. Mahalo.